You wake up tired. Your phone is already buzzing. Messages, emails, notifications stacking up before you've even left bed. Your chest feels tight, your mind is full, and somewhere in the background, a familiar thought creeps in. I'm stressed and it's ruining everything. But here's the thing. What if that thought is only half true? What if the same force that's draining you right now is also the exact force that could make you stronger, sharper, better? Imagine this. Two invisible forces follow you through every single day. Both are called stress. Both feel similar at first, but one of them trains you, pushes you, makes you grow. The other one feeds on you, drains you, slowly wears you down. They look almost identical from the outside, but they lead your life in completely opposite directions. Today, you're going to meet both of them, and once you see the difference, you'll never look at stress the same way again. Let's start with what stress actually feels like. You sit down at your desk. There's work to do, deadlines stacking up, emails you haven't answered, projects half finished. You feel the weight of it all pressing down on your shoulders. Your focus splits in 10 directions. You're moving fast, but not making real progress. You check your to-do list. It's longer than it was yesterday. You crossed off 3 things, but somehow 5 more appeared. By the end of the day, you're exhausted. Not from what you did, from what you're carrying. And the next morning, it starts again. Same pressure, same heaviness, same feeling that you're running but never actually arriving anywhere. We've been taught to see stress as the enemy, something to avoid, something toxic, something that's slowly breaking us from the inside. And that makes sense, right? Because this kind of stress does break people. It leads to burnout, anxiety, physical exhaustion. You see it everywhere. People collapsing under pressure, mental health declining, bodies wearing out faster than they should. But here's what most of us miss. Not all stress works this way. In fact, some of the strongest, most capable people you know didn't avoid stress. They used it. They leveraged it. They turned it into fuel. The difference wasn't how much pressure they faced, it was what kind of pressure it was. The stress you're feeling right now isn't one thing. It's actually 2 completely different forces wearing the same name. On one side, there's the kind of stress that shows up when you're learning something new, when you're challenged, when you're pushing past what's comfortable. Think about the last time you tried something difficult, a new skill, a hard conversation, a project that stretched you. It wasn't easy. You felt pressure, maybe even doubt. Your heart rate increased, your focus sharpened. Everything felt more intense, more real. But afterward, you were stronger, more capable, more confident. You learned something. You grew. You proved to yourself that you could handle more than you thought. That's the first type of stress. Let's call it the coach. The coach doesn't care if you're comfortable. It cares if you're growing. It pushes you into situations where you have to focus, where you have to try, where you have to adapt. It says, this will be hard, but you can do hard things, and you'll be better for it. The pressure is real. The discomfort is real. But there's something else that's real too. A clear goal, a finish line on the other side. You lift the weight, then you rest. Then you come back stronger. Think about athletes. They don't avoid stress. They seek it out. They train hard, then they recover. The stress breaks down their muscles, and the recovery builds them back stronger. This kind of stress builds you. It sharpens your focus. It forces your brain to adapt, your body to strengthen, your skills to improve. It's short-term, intense, but temporary. And when it's over, you're better than you were before. Your brain actually changes. Neural pathways strengthen, problem-solving improves, resilience increases. This is stress working the way it's supposed to work, as a signal, as a catalyst, as a force that pushes you to evolve. Now let's look at the other side. This is the stress that never stops. It doesn't come with a clear goal. It doesn't have a finish line. It just sits there, constantly demanding more hours, more effort, more energy, but without any real direction. You work late, you skip breaks, you push through exhaustion because there's always something else that needs doing. You tell yourself, Just get through this week. Just finish this project. Just make it to the deadline. But the deadline passes, and nothing changes. Another week starts, another project begins, another deadline appears. And here's the cruel part. It never feels like enough. You finish one task, and 3 more appear. You solve one problem, and 2 new ones take its place. There's no moment of completion, no moment of rest, no moment where you can step back and say, I did it. This is the second type of stress. Let's call it the vampire. The vampire doesn't train you, it drains you. It whispers the same things over and over. Not enough. Keep going. No time to rest. Everyone else is doing more. You're falling behind. And slowly, you start to believe it. Your sleep gets worse. You lie awake thinking about everything you didn't finish, everything waiting for you tomorrow. Your focus scatters. You sit down to work, but your mind wanders. Simple tasks take twice as long. Small things start to irritate you in ways they didn't before. A minor inconvenience feels massive. A simple question feels like an attack. You're working harder than ever, but your performance is dropping. Mistakes creep in. Decisions take longer. You forget things, important things, things you used to handle easily. The weight doesn't just press down anymore. It starts to crack you. Your body begins to show it. Headaches, tension, digestive issues, muscle pain that doesn't go away. And the worst part? This kind of stress doesn't make you stronger, it makes you weaker. Not because you're weak, but because no system can run at full capacity without recovery. Not you, not anyone, not machines, not athletes, not even the strongest people you know. Everyone has limits, and the vampire doesn't respect them. Here's where it gets tricky. The same challenge can be either the coach or the vampire. It all depends on one thing: time. Let's say you start a new project. It's exciting. It's challenging. You feel motivated. You're learning new things. You're engaged. Your brain is active and focused. At first, this is coach stress. You're learning, you're focused, you're engaged. But then weeks pass, months pass, and the project never ends. The scope expands, the requirements change, the team shifts, the deadlines keep moving. What was supposed to take 3 months is now 6 months, then 9, then a year. There's no moment where you get to step back and recover, no moment where the intensity decreases, just constant pressure, constant demands, constant urgency. And slowly, without you even noticing, the coach starts to change. The whistle becomes sharper, the encouragement becomes pressure, the challenge becomes a burden. What felt like growth now feels like survival. This is the turning point most people miss. Stress doesn't just exist in 2 separate categories, it transforms. What starts as growth becomes exhaustion when there's no recovery built in. The problem isn't the pressure itself. The problem is pressure without limits, without rest, without an endpoint. It's the difference between a sprint and a marathon you didn't know you were running. So how do you tell the difference? How do you know if stress is building you or breaking you? Look at 3 things. First, does it have a goal? Coach stress has a target, a finish line, a moment when you can say, I did it. You know what success looks like. You know when you'll be done. You can see the end point, even if it's far away. Vampire stress is vague, endless. There's always more to do, and the target keeps moving. You're never quite sure what done looks like. The expectations shift. The requirements expand. Success becomes impossible to define. Second, does it have a time limit? Coach stress is temporary. You sprint, then you recover. You push, then you rest. There's a rhythm to it. Intensity followed by rest. Effort followed by recovery. Challenge followed by integration. Vampire stress never stops. It demands constant output with no rhythm, no breaks, no cycles. Every day feels the same. Maximum effort, maximum output, no variation in intensity. Third, what happens after? Coach stress leaves you tired but stronger. You recover and come back better. You can feel the difference. You can do things you couldn't do before. You've grown. You've developed. You've evolved. Vampire stress leaves you depleted. You wake up already exhausted. Recovery doesn't seem to help anymore. You rest, but you don't recharge. You take breaks, but you don't recover. The exhaustion goes deeper than sleep can fix. The difference isn't in how hard you're working. It's in whether the system you're working within allows you to rebuild. Think of it this way. Stress is a tool, like fire. Fire can heat your home. It can cook your food. It can forge steel. But leave it uncontained and it burns everything down. The coach is controlled fire, focused, purposeful, time-limited. It serves a function. It has boundaries. It stops when the job is done. The vampire is wildfire, spreading, consuming, never satisfied. It has no limits, no boundaries, no endpoint. It just keeps going until there's nothing left to burn. And the difference between the two isn't the intensity, it's the boundaries. You can handle intense pressure. Humans are incredibly resilient. We're built for challenge. But we're not built for endless challenge. We're not designed to operate at maximum capacity indefinitely. You don't need less stress in your life. You need the right kind, and you need to protect yourself from the wrong kind. So what does that actually look like? It means learning to recognize when pressure is building you and when it's just draining you. It means asking yourself honestly, is this going somewhere, or am I just running in place? It means noticing when your body is telling you something, when sleep doesn't restore you, when focus becomes impossible, when small things feel overwhelming. These aren't signs of weakness, they're signals. Your system telling you that something has shifted from the coach to the vampire. It means setting limits, not because you're lazy, but because limits are what turn challenge into growth instead of collapse. Limits like clear project timelines, protected rest periods, boundaries around work hours, permission to say no. These aren't luxuries, they're requirements for sustainable performance. It means building recovery into your life as seriously as you build effort, not as a reward, as a requirement. Rest isn't what you do when you're done, it's part of the process. It's where the growth actually happens. And it means being honest when something has shifted from the coach to the vampire, when the deadline keeps moving, when the rest never comes, when the goal disappears. Because here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You can't outwork chronic stress. You can't push through it. You can't fix it with motivation or discipline alone. The only way to beat the vampire is to stop feeding it, to set the boundary it refuses to set for itself. That might mean ending a project, leaving a situation, changing your approach, asking for help. And that's not weakness, that's intelligence. It's recognizing that your long-term capacity matters more than your short-term output. One kind of stress builds your future, the other slowly steals it. The coach makes you capable. The vampire makes you fragile. The coach asks for your effort. The vampire takes your life. And the most important part, you get to choose which one follows you, not by avoiding all pressure, but by learning to tell them apart, by protecting your recovery as fiercely as you chase your goals, by knowing when to push and when to step back. This isn't about living a stress-free life. That's not possible. And honestly, it wouldn't even be good for you. You need challenge. You need growth. You need the coach, but you don't need the vampire. Nobody does. Stress isn't your enemy. Mismanaged stress is. Learn the difference and everything changes.